What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick from Australia, and welcome to episode 2 of the North Queensland Cowboys TV podcast. And as always, we've got Callan on the podcast. As always, Callan, good to see you once again. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very well, Nick. Good to see you, brother. Always good to see you and be able to talk a bit about things that we love, the Cowboys.
100%. It's been a pretty interesting week. Obviously, the trial game on the weekend, a lot of overreactions, but we will get to that. The social media world has, they love an overreaction this time of year before balls even kicked. So quite interesting stuff. But I want to say hello to everybody that's watching in the live chat. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. Hello to Lockie. Hello to Josh, Jason. We've got Luke in the chat. We've got Cooper. Hello to Cooper as well. Hello to Taylor. Hello to Rishi. Hello to CJ, Gene, Will, Jason, everyone that's watching in the live chat. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this as a live stream for Wednesday night, then really appreciate it. If you're watching this back on a Thursday during your lunch hour, or if you're watching it on the weekend, really appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Means a lot, man. But Callan, it's good to see you. How was your experience at the preseason game against the Dolphins the other night?
Terrible.
Goodness me.
Yeah, the weather cleared up. That was one good thing because it was absolutely hammering down.
Yeah.
So probably why attendance wasn't as greatest, but it's a trial game, Q Cup boys, and like I said, you get your opportunity, and I reckon Peyton would have said to a few of these guys, you probably didn't all play your best, and you guys might not get another opportunity, and
that's right.
Instead of crying about it, the guys got to go. They didn't do that well, and look at the lineup we've got next week.
Well, this weekend we play Melbourne, and our team it's possibly our round one team, depending on how players perform this weekend and if they can get through without getting injured.
So you got to give the guys a go. It's not our preferred outcome, getting 50 put on us,
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to have any effect on our season, to be honest.
No, and I know, we talk about the game. I mean, obviously Dolphins won 50-8, right? And it's a preseason game. The amount of people on social media go on about, your season's over. What do you mean? We had probably maybe 3 players in that 24-man squad that will probably be in the team. I'd say there's 2 certainties. I'd say maybe there's a third one in there because, you got Cohen Hess, who was clearly underdone. That was his first game in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Because he missed last year with an ACL. He will be in the team if he's fit enough for round one. Same with Kyle Lawton, who we picked up from Manly. I think he'll be in the team off the bench. But everyone else, it's all a question mark. Like Robert Derby, we have been talking about him. We think he's he's going to be great for us long term. But I think we saw on the weekend, maybe he's not ready right now. Maybe he's not ready. But he will be ready in the near future. Same with Corey O'Donnell. I thought he was one of our best on the weekend, but even he had some bad moments. So it's such an overreaction, these trial games. And I'll be honest with you, I absolutely hate trial games. I can't stand them because these sort of results happen, and then everyone just blows up and starts panicking. I hate trial games. I know you got to have them, but when you play a reserve grade team, essentially, and these results happen, the overreaction is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like our supporters, like I don't read a great deal of other teams, what the fans say about their own team. There are a couple of other teams that I sort of see what they're saying, whether they support their team, they got positive things to say, but I'm just starting to feel like our fans, when we're not doing that well, they're the worst, man.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. And look, if you're a fan of the Cowboys and you witness a bad loss, you don't need to lose your mind and complain. Now, I won't lie, I was guilty of that 4 or 5 years ago where I would just lose my shit. The last time I lost my shit over a game was in 2023 when we lost to Penrith, down in Penrith, where we had a won. We would have qualified for the finals, and obviously we got beaten. I ended up getting a plastic cup and smashing it on the ground. It went everywhere. That's the last time I absolutely lost my crap over a game and went on a rampage. But since then, you got to look at the big picture. You got to be like, right, if I'm going to be upset and complain and be a moron, then when the Cowboys are going good, we don't really want the fake fans to be there. Like, if you're not going to support the boys for a tough time during the season where they're going pretty average and form isn't great, then don't come and kiss our ass when we're going good, winning 7 games in a row in the top 4. Like, it drives me insane, Callan. These trial games, round 1 just needs to hurry up. Seriously, can we get to round 1? We got playing Manly down in Sydney. We're both going to be there. Hopefully, we can get a win to start the year, and no one will even remember these trial games by then. No one will remember anything.
No, that's right, mate. It'll be ancient history. What podcast was I watching? And they were putting us pretty. It might have been what's his name, Joel McCain, and the other fellow. Joel Kane and the tradie.
Yeah.
They had us in the bottom 4.
I saw that. I'll tell you this, Callan. I've watched a lot of content creators over the summer and going into the new year in the last couple of weeks. We have been written off probably worse than last year, to be honest. So, underdog story. Oh, it's an underdog type season because we know that our premiership window, I believe, is still open. But this is the year where we might have to do it because we're losing our hooker to the Roosters. We're losing Tamalolo's not getting any younger, other players as well. I feel like it's now or never. And then next year might be a different year. I'm not sure what next year is going to be like, but I feel like we have a team now that can do it. So I think it's now or never.
Yeah, and they questioned and I don't think we will finish there, but they said that if we do finish there, Payton's job might be in question.
I think the only way Payton's losing his job is if we fall 12th or lower, to be honest. I think if we come 10th or 9th or 11th and we miss the 8 by a game or 2, I don't think he gets the sack. But if we come 12th and we miss it by like 3 or 4 games and players aren't performing, he could be in trouble. But I don't even think Todd's even the issue. I think it'd be ridiculous to get rid of Todd at this stage. There's no one else that could come in and do that good of a job. I don't think.
But it's like our roads up here. Everyone writes us off. We're forgotten. Let's. yeah, I do want to keep talking about 2015 for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah, we all do.
You know, the amount of games we lost on the trot, and, mate, how many people in the beginning of the year said we were going to win a grand final?
Not many. No one, really.
Like I didn't think we were going to, I never give up, and I always believe, but I certainly probably, my thing wasn't, you know, I'm not going to put too much money on a grand final victory in 2015, but, mate, anything can happen, mate. When self-belief and, you know, you got to look at the track record of our injuries. We've had a lot of dramas when we've had a terrible year. Like, I don't want to make excuses, but they're relevant.
Yeah.
For the situations, the predicaments. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Todd Payton's, you know, I think he ruffles feathers.
Yeah.
And to get the best out of blokes, that's what you've got to do.
No, you're right. That's right. All right, well, let's move on to the other trial game. Obviously, this is I guess you could say the more important trial game because of who we're playing and who we've named this weekend. So, obviously, this Sunday, the Cowboys will travel down to Melbourne and take on the Melbourne Storm down at a place called Casey Fields down there in Melbourne. I'm assuming it's a suburban ground somewhere in Melbourne. I've never heard of it before. But Storm Cowboys, 5:15 kickoff on Sunday. Obviously 4:15 for the viewers up there in North Queensland. That's going to be watching. The Cowboys team is quite strong, and it's pretty close to what I think the round one team will look like. So obviously the team goes by Drinkwater at fullback, Braden Burns on the right wing, Murray Talangi on the left, Jackson Purdue at left centre, Viliami Vailea at right centre, Dearden and Duffy in the halves, McLean and McIntyre in the front row, Robson at hooker, John Bateman on the right edge, second row, with Jeremiah Nanai to partner Tom Dearden on the left-hand side, which is a little bit exciting in my opinion. Ruben Cotter at lock forward at jersey 13. The bench is Harrison Edwards, Carl Lawton, Griffin Neame. For some reason, jersey 17 is blank with no name, but the reserves are Kai O'Donnell, Cohen Hess, Robert Derby, Thomas McKaylee, and Jackson Parlow. So we've named a 23-man squad. I think a lot of our guys will play 60-odd minutes so they can get some fitness for round one. But what do you make of the team, Callan, against the Storm on Sunday?
I love it. I'm excited because I haven't really seen much of Duffy play.
Yeah,
I was watching some highlights on Q Cup. I think I mentioned this last week, and
yeah,
you know, he led nearly. I'm pretty sure he led everything. You know, so it'd be good. He's a confident man. You know, he's got a good kick and boot. And, you know, it's all about combinations, you know. So Bateman, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
You know, we spoke a little bit about that last week, that bit of mongrel. And so, yeah, you know, we want that the gel, we want it to be, you know, it's not going to be seamless. But if like some of the teams that did play on the weekend, you know, there were, you know, some teams I was looking at going like Tigers, you know, I was quite impressed with the way they played.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to be perfect, you know, but if those combinations, I think it's going to give us a real good sense of, you know, who's going to be where.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the result. Like, I don't care if we win by 10 or we lose by 16 in this game. Like, it doesn't matter if we win or lose. But combinations, that's the key part about this. Now, we spoke about it last week, about the right wing spot. I've been pulling for Braden Burns. And Braden Burns has apparently got that spot he's just in front. So I heard Todd Payton say the other day it's between Braden Burns and Semi Valame, and apparently Braden Burns has got his head in front by a whisker. He's just got his nose in front. So I'm a Braden Burns fan. I said last week that last year when he came in and he played against the Rabbitohs and the Roosters and the Panthers, and there was another game there somewhere where he played well. He played really well. He was very safe, and I think that's what Todd Payton said the other day in the presser when he announced the team. He said Braden Burns is very safe under the high ball, and I think that's probably what's got him in front over Semi Valame right now. And I think the destiny is in the hands of a lot of these guys. Like, if Braden Burns has a good game on the weekend, he will probably start there in round one. If Jackson Purdue goes well, he will probably get a crack round one because Zach Labart's still recovering from his ACL injury. He just started running the other day. So Labart might not be back to round 3, round 4 by the sounds of that. Duffy, again, I'm assuming Clifford's fit for round 1. This is the game where Duffy's going to have to prove if he wants to be the halfback. This is the game where he's going to have to really show that he's the guy. So
Yeah.
it's exciting. It's competition for spots.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was talking to Ray Thompson, Paul Bowman on the Friday on their training run, Thursday, their training run.
Right.
And Duffy's 100% for round 1.
Right.
That's what they because of Clifford. He won't be 100%.
Yeah,
I think they're going to give him a little bit more time, and I think everything what Duffy's doing at training is just been, they're really pleased with his efforts, and so I think he is a guarantee for round 1. But mate, what great competition!
Some good headaches there, like Sam McIntyre. I'm a big Sam McIntyre fan. I love his work. I love his effort. Him getting a start over Griffin Neame is a little bit surprising because we've been thinking and waiting and expecting Griffin Neame to be the next guy to start after Taumalolo, but McIntyre seemed to have got his head in front. So there's a lot of good competition for spots here. And
I'm a big Sam fan.
Yeah,
I love his efforts.
I've got to say as well, Semi Valame, he's got to be injured because he didn't play last week. He hasn't been named in the squad again this week. Semi Valame's got to be injured or something. He's not even in the squad. So I'm not sure what's happened there. Now,
yeah, that's.
I don't want to be. What's that?
Who's he? Who's he neck and neck with? Braden Burns.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
No. Who's the?
Braden Burns was neck and neck with Semi Valame. They were
Oh,
very
yeah.
close. Now, Valame hasn't been named in any of the trials, so I don't know if there's an injury that we don't know about, but I'm surprised that he hasn't been named in any of the trials. It's a bit weird.
Geez, their first names and last names are almost the same, aren't they? Like the letters that are in there.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention as well, if Valame is injured, then Burns will probably get the round 1 jersey because Robert Derby on the weekend, I mean, obviously he's got a big future, but may not be ready week in, week out right now. Might not be ready right now, but I think he will be very soon. But Jackson Paulo, I don't want to be too negative of Jackson Paulo, but my goodness, his defense against the Dolphins on the weekend, I think he let in the first 2 or 3 tries of us. So I'm not sure if Jackson Paulo gets a run. He had a really bad game on the weekend.
Yeah. Wingers have got a lot of responsibility. A lot of people don't realise, a winger has to, like the fullback is doing the defence.
Uh, that was quite interesting. We'll give Callan a moment to fix that situation up. That was a bit out of nowhere, but that's all right. Also, I want to say as well, like I think Jackson. Oh, there we go. We're good.
Sorry, mate, it's just pizza.
Out of nowhere. Yeah, look, I think when it comes to Jackson Paulo, I think he's a bit like Robert Derby. I don't know if they're ready for that next step, but Braden Burns, I mean, the destiny is in his own hands at the moment.
Yeah, well, like you said, if he has a good game for the next preseason game, I think he's a definite.
I think he's
because I really like. I was a bit baffled that he didn't play a lot more last year.
Same here. I remember when we got towards the final series, and everyone was talking about, drop Villia, and all these. Everyone was angry at Villia. And I'm just like, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, you really want to drop a center a week before the final series where it'd be a new combination and defensively might not be as good. So you're mad. If it's round 10, round 12, all right, do it. But not that close to the final series. But
Nah.
Burns is good. Burns is good, man. I really hope Braden Burns makes the round one team. Also, I want to get your opinion on this as well. Cohen Hess and Kai O'Donnell. I thought Kai O'Donnell played really well.
Yeah. Yeah, he played good. I was really impressed.
I've got a few. Oh, I'll be good. I'll be still on.
Yeah. I lost you for a second.
Internet just cut out for a minute. Last week, I thought Kai O'Donnell was very good in that trial game. But Cohen Hess, I've got some concerns about Cohen Hess. He hasn't played for 2 years because of that ACL injury. Missed all of last year. He looked really underdone in that trial game. I don't even know if Cohen Hess is a certainty for round one. He might need a few games in Q Cup to get his match fitness going, but I was a bit concerned about Cohen Hess on the weekend. I'm not sure what your take on that is.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think that would be, instead of trying to rush him in, like you said, he hasn't played for that long. And I had a bit of a yak to him too on Thursday, and he said, he wouldn't play for long. I just want to get a little bit of, under the legs and in the lungs and that. But, you don't want to be, the other thing is, we don't want to lose him. So there's no good getting him out there if he's underdone.
Yeah. If I'm Todd Payton, I'm like, all right, we've got guys here who can cover the void for now and guys that can do a job. Like we saw how impressive Harrison Edwards was last year, coming off the bench, doing a job as well. Guys like Thomas Michele, Tamalolo should be good for round one. We'll get to that in a minute. But there's guys that can do a job for Hess if he's not 100%. Like you said, you don't want to play him round one. It gets a little bit of a niggle, and then he's done by round 8. Like we can't be having that.
He's going to be playing front row, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, he's big.
Definitely.
He's like, the body's looking good. He's fit. Like
I'd be bringing him off the
muscles.
bench.
He's huge, mate. Jeez, he's put some beef on.
I'd be bringing Hess off the bench. Like if he's good for round one, bring him off the bench.
Yeah.
Impact wise. All right. We might as well give a prediction for Sunday. We're playing Melbourne down there. Look, I think we'll win, but I think it'll be a tight game. I'll go Cowboys by 6. And for the first try, let's go. You know what? I thought talking about him before. We'll go Sam McIntyre to score the first try.
I'll go 22-18.
Yeah.
I'll go Duffy.
Oh, the halfback.
Yeah.
Tom Duffy to impress. All right, sounds good. All right, moving on. Moving on to what Todd Payton said the other day at the presser. It's quite interesting. Also, a little bit concerning. I think a little bit concerning. So Todd Payton says Jason Tamalolo, Jake Clifford, Zach Labour, all hopeful for round one. Now, I've got some doubts on this one, Callan, because Clifford looks like he won't be available for round one. It looks like he won't be ready unless he heals quicker than we think, but seems to be like he won't be there round one. Zach Labour just started running the other day, so I don't even think he'll be ready for round one. But Tamalolo is the other one. Tamalolo, by reports, he'd be good to go for round one. But what's your take on all this? Three guys hopeful for round one, but not exactly a certainty.
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing, it's Tamalolo sounds like the closest out of the three.
Yeah,
and like I don't think it's worth risking it, and I think Peyton sort of, I don't think he likes taking risks like that. Like it's. Or, one thing we want to win a game, but you've got to think about people's health
and the long season. Like it's a long year. It's not
right.
gonna, it's not gonna be bad missing one game. Like you got a whole year ahead of you.
Yeah,
I think with Zach Labour, right, he's coming back from an ACL because he did it. What round did he do his ACL? Was it round 3 against the Broncos? Oh, no, round 4. No. Round 2. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to figure out what round he did it. Because
it was early. I know that.
Because I remember the Dolphins game, he scored the first try. And it might have been the Knights game in Townsville. It might have been that game. Honestly, it might have been. I don't remember what round it was, but it was definitely. It was
Townsville.
I think it was round 2 against the Knights. I almost, if I had to throw money on it, I think I'd press on that. But yeah, Labour just started doing running again. Todd Payton said in the press conference when he announced the trial game team, what did he say? He said he would play them, but it's only a trial game, and he reckons 7 days isn't enough for fitness. So, Labour's obviously not there this weekend. So, I can't see, to be honest with you, unless we get injuries in this weekend, which I hope doesn't happen, but unless we get injuries, I can't see Zach Labour playing round one, just simply because fitness-wise.
And
yeah, Clifford, 100%. I mean, we're talking about him before. Clifford, you were saying that he's probably not going to be ready for round one.
No, they sounded very confident that Duffy will be our number 7 for round one.
Yeah, right. Well,
and
that's interesting.
As far as the fans are concerned, I feel like I'm the only Clifford fan in Cowboy land.
I've got no problem with Jake Clifford. Like I think he's fine. Like, he comes in, does a job, he's fine. I just feel that Duffy might be the long-term plan. It feels like that's the direction that they're heading. But Jake Clifford, for a fact that every time Jake Clifford plays a game, he's going to have a massive chip on his shoulder, and he's going to want to prove himself. Like, no, I should be the halfback going forward, not someone that's, someone that's young like Duffy. But that's what I mean. It's good competition for spots. That's why I'm keen for this season, because we got so many spots up for grabs, and there's good competition between everyone.
Is Clifford a 14?
I've heard that argument as well. He could play 14 and come on and play a bit of hooker, but I don't vision that. I can't see it. But who the hell knows? Who the hell knows at the moment? Like we've seen so many halfbacks over the years moved to hooker, and they've played better footy. So,
Yeah.
like we saw Ben Hunt at the Broncos, he went to halfback to hooker at one point. We've seen Phoenix Crossland from the Newcastle Knights. He was a half, then he moved to hooker, and he was much improved. So it can happen. It can work. It really can. It'll be interesting if they try that. That's what's going to be interesting. As for Tamalolo, he looks like he'll be ready for round one. Obviously, they're not going to risk him in a trial game. But what do you do with Tamalolo? Do you start him? Do you bring him off the bench? We're paying him a shitload of money still. That big deal is obviously his contract's a big one. What do you do with Tamalolo? Do you start him? Do you bench him? Do you move him back to lock forward and put Cotter in the front row? Like, what would you do? What would you do with JT?
Mate, I think Christian Wolf's got the blueprint for how to use Jason Tamalolo, mate. Every time he plays for Tonga, he's a freak.
He's insane.
Looks like a young man again.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's saying give him Tongan underpants or, like the way Peyton uses Tamalolo, he doesn't get enough minutes, in my opinion.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
And it's like this, I've got to save him. And, I don't know if that was for our ears, rah, the longevity of him, blah, 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 mate. You play him as you need him. And if he's not good enough to continue, well, he'll have to retire. You don't have a bloke playing that much money and say, let's put him on the bench. Like, okay, if we're 100 points in front, okay, yeah, bring off our superstar. That makes sense. But to me, like when Jason is doing what Jason does best, like, man, it just seems to our whole team just goes off the back of that.
When Jason Tamalolo played for Tonga in the Pacific Championships back in October, November, he looked like his old self. I'm like, holy shit. This is the Tamalolo that we need at the Cowboys majority of the year.
Yeah.
We don't need Tamalolo to be 10 out of 10 every week because we've got other guys that can step up and play well. But if we can get 80% out of Tamalolo and play in the minutes that he should be playing, it's going to work fine. Like, put him back at jersey 13, give him his old number back, let him play lock forward. Cotter can move in the front row with McIntyre or McLean or whatever direction they want to go with the front row. Have Tamalolo play, 55 minutes a game? 60 minutes a game? Let him be himself. Let him be Tamalolo. And I know there was a good period where Tamalolo was coming off the bench and he was changing the game. Impact was going crazy. But then the problem is you're going to pay $1 million for a bench forward. Like, you can't be doing that. Like,
no.
Not now. The salary cap's too tight. And the last couple of years, Tamalolo, he's had some good games. He's had, there's been periods where he's had a great 4 to 6 weeks. And there's been periods where he's had a not so good 4 to 6 weeks. I remember a game last year where we played the Titans on the Gold Coast. We were terrible. We had the worst game. And then with 15 minutes to go, Tamalolo comes back on and he goes absolutely ballistic, destroys everybody. I think we lose by 2 points in the end, but if we had won that game, it would have been all about Tamalolo because he just went nuts. The beast was unleashed. And we need, obviously, we know his knee problems he's had over the last couple of years and whatnot, but if Tamalolo plays 50 to 55 minutes a game, he's going to play well.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. I'd be bringing him off about 30th minute.
Yeah.
Giving him a long rest, and depending on how we're looking, say we're a long way in front, well, then I'd probably bring him on, 20 minutes to go. Yeah. So, like you say, so there'd be 50 minutes.
I
If
think you've got the right idea, but I think I'd do Tamalolo starts the game. He goes off around the 25th minute, and then he comes back on around the 50th, 55th minute mark, and yeah, gets that big stint. So he's playing the first 25, and then you'd leave him off, and then 15 minutes into the second half, you bring him back on and just let him go ballistic. He'll go nuts.
Yeah.
I think that's how to do it. But
you know, and that was the key with our success 2015. You know, like the average bloke won't remember our bench. Bolton,
Ben Henne,
Cross Jason.
Who's the other one?
Who's the other one?
Ethan Lowe, was it?
Nah, I'm pretty sure they were both second row. Him and Cooper were second row.
Who was that?
But they were,
Tamo. Was it Tamo? Oh, I can't remember who it was. Who was it?
No, I think him and Matt Scott were starters.
Hang on, Ethan,
Coop, Tamalolo. John Asiata. I got his picture. Picture right, fucking man.
John Asiata. Look at that. Fantastic.
And, your bench players have got to, it's seamless. We don't miss a beat. It's not like you bring someone on and then it's all of a sudden, it's like what happened for Tonga. When Blake and Tamalolo come off, Kiwis, nearly won.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. All right. Well, Tamalolo, I think we all know he needs to play more minutes. I mean, we can't be seeing games where he's played 25 minutes. Like, we saw that last year. He played 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Needs to be playing at least 50, I reckon.
And to what I've said in the past is play maximum minutes and give him a week off, at some stage. Not because he's injured or whatever, just, okay, maybe I don't really like saying a lesser side because you can't underestimate anyone. And just go, okay, we'll give you a rest this week.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's going to be way beneficial than, a bloke sitting on the bench for, most of the game. It's
100%. All right. Well, let's move on to something that's close to your heart, Callan. Should the Cowboys play one home game a year in Cairns? Now, we know we used to have a deal with Cairns where I think the Rabbitohs would come up and they would host a game against us in Cairns. I think they did it in 2016, 2017, and 2018, I'd like to say. I'm trying to remember if there's any other years where we did. Maybe 2015, I think we played him up there as well. But anyway, there was a good 3-year period where we would play Souths at Cairns. Obviously, you live in Cairns. You know the place better than anyone. But should the Cowboys play one home game a year in Cairns?
I think every second year, play one in Mackay, one in Cairns, because the South games were well attended.
Yeah.
We're saying in the green room that the stadium here is pretty ordinary, and the Cowboys will lose a lot of money, and the Cairns people don't all turn up. I think I put a thing in the NRL thing that a lot of people were whinging about it, and I said, put the information about the podcast, come and give us your thoughts. Would you come to a game? No good saying, blah, 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 this and that, and you don't come to the game. I think two things need to happen. Barlow Park needs to improve, and Cairns so-called supporters need to turn up.
Yeah. Do you think there's a bit of a divide between the Cairns people and Townsville? Like, do you think there's a bit of divide there with that whole situation with like I've heard a lot of Cairns people say, "Oh, the Cowboys don't do enough for Cairns and they don't come here a lot," but the stadiums in Townsville and blah blah blah. Like, you'd obviously know that better than I would, but what's your take on all that?
Yeah, well, we've always had a massive rivalry with Townsville, like in our early rugby league, the Folly Shield and Cairns versus Townsville. It's like any neighbour.
Yeah.
But like we're North Queenslanders. Mackay, Townsville, and Cairns wouldn't be able to all have a team each.
No way.
And it's in the middle. I nearly drive down to every game. It's like I was talking to you. It was a guy from Brisbane who would give me shit and say, "Oh no, they're the Townsville Cowboys. They never come here, blah blah blah." And I said, "No, they're the North Queensland Cowboys." And like I said, the Barlow Park is shit. I'd much prefer, it'd be like playing at Leichhardt Oval. It's not a good ground. And I even said that to Gavin Cooper.
What did Gavin Cooper say?
Oh, he just laughed. And then I was talking to Hesse about it too, and because I played a few OzTag games on Barlow Park. And,
yeah.
It's the grass is nice. But the outside of the field is, they have done a lot of improvement. They spent a bit of money. We got good lights there. They've got a big screen there now, but they haven't done nothing with seating, and they want big money for the seats, So for all us members, so that's the other thing, the Cairns people, these Cairns people who are whinging, I bet you a lot of them aren't members and they're not going to every game like I am.
Exactly. Now, look, obviously, the argument would be, Cairns is here, you got Mackay here, Townsville in the middle. What's wrong with a couple hours in the car to go to the ground? Like, the stadium's in Townsville. That's where the home games are. At the end of the day, like, what do you expect to happen? Sure, it'd be great to have a game in Cairns one year and Mackay the next, but at the end of the day, the home ground is in Townsville. It's like you have a look at some Sydney clubs, right? The Roosters, their home ground is Allianz Stadium. They would probably lose money if they took a game to Central Coast or if they took a game somewhere else. The Rabbitohs, they play their home games at a cool stadium. So do the Bulldogs. If South Sydney took a game to Dubbo and the Bulldogs took a game to Belmore, the clubs are going to lose a bit of money out of that. I remember last year, Gus Gould said in an interview that the Bulldogs actually lose money playing at Belmore. They make more money out of core because of the whole stadium revenue and everything else that goes on. So I think obviously there's been a bit of beef between Cairns and Townsville and whatnot, but a bit like I said before, everyone up there, it's North Queensland. Just get to Townsville. It's not that far, and stop fighting over it. Like, stop bitching about it.
Well, if if we lived in Sydney like you,
yeah.
You're a bit further away. You've got to get in a plane and fly to, But if you were on one end of Sydney, say you've got to go from Manly to Penrith, or like how long would that take to drive there?
Be a while.
It's the same sort of thing.
Be about 2 hours, I reckon.
And like you say, that atmosphere, it's not here.
Yeah.
Turning up to a game where, that's that beautiful state. Like I to be honest, I miss the old stadium. But, that's another topic. But, we've got this beautiful stadium. It nearly packs out every game.
Yeah.
like, if you're a passionate supporter, and now that's one game, that you're going to go to play to, that you live in Cairns, so you get one game. Are those, like I said before, are those guys going to go to any other games? So
exactly.
be like me saying, you saying, come visit me, and I go, no, you got to visit me,
Yeah.
Well, if you're having a party, and you say, Callan, come to my party, and I go, no, you tell your party to come to me, because it's hard for the Mackay. The Mackay people aren't going to drive to Cairns.
No way. There's no way. All right.
I'd probably drive to Mackay, but I'm a bit more passionate than the average fan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Bit of a theory. I know this is going to upset some fans. I know it will. I know certain fan bases won't like hearing this, but too bad. So every year that ends in 5, the Cowboys make a grand final. So obviously 1995 was the Cowboys' debut season. Then in 1998, it went to the NRL. It changed to the NRL. 2005, the Cowboys made a grand final. 2015, the Cowboys won the grand final. Now we're in 2025. Do we make another grand final? Now, I've got some hilarious stats that actually follow up with this. So, in 2004, the Cowboys were knocked out at Allianz Stadium against the Roosters. 10 years later, 2014, the Cowboys were knocked out against the Roosters once again, Allianz Stadium. In 2024, the Cowboys were eliminated once again at Allianz Stadium, but this time it was against a different Sydney club in the Sharks. So 04, 2014, 2024, the Cowboys were eliminated in those final series at Allianz Stadium, but then in 2005, 2015, they made the grand final. So 2025, Callan, it's our year. We're making the grand final.
I've got nothing against it. Well, you can't argue with statistics.
No, you can't.
Like you said, the fans might not like it. Well, just go and read if you've got any old rugby league magazines.
Yeah, go read up on
it. There, it's all there. So
go read up on it.
I know Peyton wouldn't be,
he wouldn't give a shit.
Going on about it or anything, because if you don't put in the hard yards, it wouldn't matter what year it is. We're not going to win.
If I went up to Todd Payton and I told him everything I just told you and everyone else watching, Todd would look at me and he would say, Nick, you're reading too much online. You need to get off social media. You're reading too much shit. That's what he would say. That's what he would say to me. No doubt about it.
He liked my cowboy tattoo.
Oh, you showed him?
Yeah. And I said, I hope this is not going to be an omen, like, in a bad way. And he turned it into a positive. He goes, I hope it is. I hope it's a positive omen. It's your tattoo. I was nearly going to write 2025 on there.
Don't fucking curse us.
No, I wouldn't do that.
But overall, obviously, it's a stat. It's a bit of a funny one. I think last year the Bulldogs fans were doing the same about the 4 thing, the pattern in 4, whatever it was, 94, 04, 2014. But you know what? It's only a stat. It's a bit of a laugh. If you believe it, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's only a stat. It's only numbers. If we make the grand final, then I might start believing in it, to be honest.
Yeah. Like you said, with the 4 for us, the 04, the 2014, like 04, like I go back and watch, because we didn't have Thurston then. We had Nathan Feen then.
Yeah.
And I love going because that was the beginning. Like I was
Yeah.
sitting there watching it at home, and I think it was the Bulldogs, and might have been. I think it was. I was nearly going to jump in the car and drive 4 hours to Townsville after the game had finished, just so I could be in that atmosphere of, everyone going off. We didn't do that well in the finals
No.
last year. I thought we were a little bit disappointing, but still a lot of positives. Still a lot of positives that can be taken out of last year, because that's what you do in life, and I've said this a lot. You improve.
That's right.
And I think that's what Peyton has got a polish for, is getting that little bit of okay. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are. Like Wayne Bennett doesn't win every year. Either does Bellamy.
No, that's
Right. So you can only say, okay, mate, I want you to do this. And then if it isn't, carried out, well, it doesn't matter who's given the order. So what I believe is we take, all those positives out of last year, we put a bit of polish on them. And, the new halves, like
new winger, new center.
I don't want to start bagging Chad, but I think, he was replaced way too late.
Yeah. I think because we brought Clifford in very late in the year, like 3 weeks before the final series. So you're right.
Like 04, Fiend, we get a sort of unknown Thurston.
Yeah.
Which turned out to be, a freak.
The best. Yeah.
2015, well, we still got Thurston, and it took a long time.
If you remember, 2014, Morgan played fullback, and we had Robert Louis at 5'8", and then 15, Lachlan Coote came out from his ACL, JT and Morgo were the halves, and then it was magic.
Yeah.
It was magic.
You're giving me goosebumps just thinking about that.
Oh, it was great.
Morgan felt.
Oh, the best. Bring it back.
And, we got like this, like I said, I'm not that known about Duffy, but if he's as good as his stats and everyone says, and like Dearden is a in the
He's
mold.
the best 5'8" in the game. He's the best 5'8" in the game. He really is.
So yeah, I'm excited. I've got to, like I said to you in the text, we're locked in. We got our flights, we got our accommodation, and we got our tickets for a few games now. So
we got some big plans for this year. Big plans.
So stay tuned, everyone.
Stay tuned. Join us on the journey, because this podcast is going to be weekly. The vlogs are going to be off its head. Like, it's going to be, this whole year is going to be nuts. It really is. All right, we'll answer 2 fan questions that have been sent in, and then we'll wrap up the show. So give me a moment, and we'll get to the fan questions. All right, question from Zach. Zach wants to know, what were your thoughts on the career of former Cowboys outside back Ty Williams? Oh, I was a big Ty Williams fan. I love Ty Williams. I'll tell you this. Obviously, JT and Matty Bowen were the 2 for me, but Ty Williams was always the third guy. Between him and Matt Singh, I couldn't pick who I love more. I probably love Ty Williams more because he was in my childhood from that 2005 to 2010 era, and he was always the guy on the wing with the black headgear, and he was always finding the try line. And I'll always love Ty Williams. I think he was fantastic for us, and probably, I know there's been a lot of talk about team, the best Cowboys team of all time. Obviously in the 30 years. But Ty Williams is always in my team. Like I got to have him in there somewhere. So I love Ty Williams. What about you, Callum?
Well, I probably didn't give him as much credit as he deserved playing, because I go back and watch old games,
Yeah,
and some of the things that he done, and I think I don't think I gave this bloke enough credit for how good he was, and then he went and done great things with the Pride as a coach. So I think I think my son got his jersey signed by him, where he run a training in Cairns here. So no, I'm a big Ty Williams fan.
Yeah, I've always loved Ty Williams. And the other question comes in from Kevin. Love the show, boys. My question is, what is the worst Cowboys jersey that we have ever produced? Well, Kevin, thank you very much for the question, but yeah, don't really like the negativity.
He hasn't got a one that he doesn't like, or
he didn't say, but yeah, there's been some pretty ordinary ones over the years. I won't lie, like I'll be honest. What's one I didn't like? All right, it might be unpopular. You remember the 2016, 2017 away jersey, the grey one that they used to wear, that real like grey color we used to have? I couldn't stand that. Couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand that jersey. I might try and get a photo.
I don't think there's there's probably jersey. And I can't really, because they grow on me.
Yeah.
It's like this year I wasn't when I first saw them, and then like I've got, I went and bought two of them, one for me and one for the missus.
Yeah.
They, I don't know.
Yeah, this one.
That's a hard question.
This jersey was one that I wasn't a fan of. It was weird because we won some of the best games in this goddamn jersey. You go back to the Broncos game in 2016 when we knocked them out up in Townsville, and then I think in the final series in 2017 when we went on that big run from 8th spot. I think we're wearing this jersey. I'll show you. Remember that one?
Yeah, yep.
I wasn't a fan of that jersey. I never liked it. But we won some of the best games in that freaking kit. Weird. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, we'll let the fan questions out of the way. That's going to wrap things up from us, I think. Callan, it's been another great episode. Obviously, episode 2 wrapped up and finished. Looking forward to next week, and hope you have a good weekend watching the game. I'm not going, obviously. I'm going to watch it at home, but should be interesting on Sunday watching the game.
Yeah, if I had a lot more money, being a ground that I haven't been to, I'd go down. I'd love to go. I'm. Footy's back. It's a good time of year. We're all itching for round 1. And
good time to be alive.
Yeah, and now we got this podcast. And
yeah, Manly in a few weeks, which is going to be big. So, yeah, bring it on. Bring it on.
Give it to Manly.
Yeah,
I got a good record at Brookvale, mate.
Yeah, let's give it to those disgusting Seagulls. We'll go down there and ambush them.
They don't like me at Brookvale.
If I don't like you, they will definitely hate us both. I'm telling you now.
Oh, we're gonna traumatize. They'll probably have wanted posters of us.
We'll go down there. It'll start off well, I reckon, and then if we win, well, if we win, we win. If we lose, we will probably want to get out of there quick. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you all. If you're watching it back as a video or just listening to it, thank you very much. All right, guys, we're out of here. Take care. See you later.